You know, when you look at the world today, a world that can often feel so full of cruelty and conflict, do you ever just stop and wonder, where did this struggle even begin? Well, today we're going to dive into a perspective that traces our biggest challenges all the way back to a single foundational choice, and then offers a path forward, a path toward virtue. All right, so the analyses we're exploring today, it doesn't pull any punches. It kicks things off with a pretty stark diagnosis of the modern world, starting with what it sees as just pervasive cruelty. And it doesn't stop there. Next on the list of major issues plaguing humanity is violence. And then, layered on top of all of that, you've got the pervasiveness of lies and dishonesty. It really starts to paint this picture of a world where finding the truth, well, it can feel pretty tough. The final piece of this diagnosis is hypocrisy. Now look, the source is clear. These problems aren't exactly new, right? They've been around. But here's the kicker. It makes this really bold claim that their intensity today has reached a level we've just never seen before. So yeah, it's a pretty grim picture. The source actually describes our era as being devastated, far from our imagination. This isn't just listing off problems. It's making a really profound statement about the state of humanity. And that, of course, leads to the big question. And there it is. That's the question the entire text is built around. If our world is dealing with all this stuff, where did it all start? What's the real fundamental root of this moral struggle we see everywhere? Well, to answer that, the source takes us way, way back, like to the very beginning. It lays out this foundational story to explain why we humans are even faced with these choices and consequences in the first place. So the story kicks off with the creation of the first humans, Adam and Hawa. Then a command comes from God, referred to here by the Arabic name Allah, for all the angels to bow before Adam. Simple enough, right? Well, almost everyone obeys, except for one, an angel named Abels. And for that refusal, that single act of defiance, he gets his consequence. He is cast out, and from then on, he's known as Satan. But here's where it gets really interesting. Getting cast out isn't the end of his story. The text points to this absolutely crucial moment. Satan asks for permission, and gets it, to spend his time trying to distract humanity from doing good, all the way until the day of judgment. I mean, think about that. That one moment sets up this central, ongoing conflict for every single person who ever lives. So that sets the stage perfectly for humanity's first big test. Adam is given just one rule: don't eat the fruit from that specific tree. But Satan's deception works, and Adam eats it. Now, he apologizes, and his apology is accepted, but there's still a consequence. He's sent down to earth. And according to this text, that's the moment our life here on earth gets defined as a place of testing, not just for him, but for all of us. So, okay, that's the origin story. How does it frame the rest of our lives? Well, the source basically says that from that very first moment until the end of time, our entire existence is shaped by this one great test. And this is really the heart of it, right? This idea of duality. According to the text, life is just a constant choice between two paths that are always pulling at you. You've got the right path, obedience, good deeds, and then there's the wrong path, distraction, hypocrisy. Oh, and the source adds a really important detail. One of the biggest signs you're on the wrong path, it's that feeling, that assumption that you are always right. Okay, so if life is this constant test, this choice between two paths, what's the solution? What does the text say we should actually do about it? How do we start to heal this troubled world? Well, the text lays out a kind of guide to living a virtuous life. It talks about doing good deeds with honesty, being kind to yourself, that's a big one, and just being realistic and putting in the hard work. It also has this kind of fascinating piece of advice. Try to reduce how much we depend on machines, maybe as a way to stay more connected and grounded. But really, the core message through all of this is to live a life that's free from cruelty and to actively try and spread peace, kind of like a dove. And all of this really boils down to the core solution, which is captured in this simple but really powerful idea from the text. Your individual actions matter. Every single good deed has the power to brighten that darkness we talked about at the very beginning. Each one is like lighting a candle. And that's how the text brings us full circle. It starts by diagnosing all these problems in the world. Then it traces them all the way back to a single defiant choice. And it frames our entire lives as this ongoing test. After giving us a guide to virtue, it ends by turning the whole thing back on us, on you. It's saying that the most important power we have is our own choice. So the final question it leaves us with is a really personal one. What path are you going to take?